Morning, coffee moaners.
Good morning, coffee moaners. How are we all this morning? Fine day.
Lovely to see your name flying up, Faith. Thank you for joining us for a while. I realise it's been tricky and tough.
Yeah.
And it's as so many of us are struggling with the brutalism in the world. It is sometimes one has to step back.
Yeah, grief just nibbles away at you always. It never just goes. And yeah.
Sending you love.
Anyway, we are always here.
If you're listening on podcast and you hear us randomly referring to people reading out comments, because this is a live feed, we have a community, we have a chat room, and we have a very loyal community.
And if you're listening on podcast, you won't see this.
Oh my God, put it away.
This is, now if anyone watched our mirror signal maneuver.
Marriage signal.
Oh yeah, marriage signal maneuver.
The cleverness of the title is in a bit you never say.
Video that we put up the other day, and I accidentally used this lip stain in red, which was my daughter's one, because I was just going to do a little bit of line, and then I could not get it off. It lasts for like 8 hours. But this is actually the colour that I was wanting to put on, and I want to show you it. This isn't an ad. This is just I like showing you things that I love. This is amazing, this lip stain, because it stays. No, but look at that. I look naturally, because Mark, you don't understand this. As you get older, all these things that happen for us as women, like my moustache this morning that I had to cut with kitchen scissors.
The one in the middle
was white.
Yes, I did.
It's gone white.
Yes.
Right.
And it was
our
right
lips,
down the middle.
Our lips pale out a bit.
But they look like lips.
Yeah, but now they don't look, you know what I mean? Because you want to use a little makeup
definition.
As you get older. You want to use a bit less, but you want stuff that looks natural. Now that is, and you only need a tiny bit. Right. I just wanted to share it because I thought that was
wow.
I think what colour is it?
This is a plastic bottle. I love it.
That was not an ad.
No, neither was
this. We don't do ads.
Neither was this. I put water in it, and I drink it across the day. It's great.
Warm brown.
It's really nice.
It's lovely, isn't it?
What's the brand? Lottie Drew says
Huda Beauty, and also Huda Beauty, 100% support Palestine. So I love to.
Evian, naive backwards. Yeah.
So actually, like, kiss me now. No. Sorry.
That's blowing hot and cold.
I didn't mean to say that. I meant give me.
Were you overwhelmed?
No, I want to give you I want you to give me your cheek, and I'll kiss it. Okay. And you'll see how the lipstick doesn't come on. He's now showing me his butt cheek.
Oh, okay. Right. Sorry.
No, give me your cheek.
Yes.
Nothing.
No, nothing for me either. I'm going to stick in my bottle of water. Oh, I've actually pulled my groin.
Oh, God.
I've literally pulled my groin, offering my butt.
Oh, God, I've got to stop showing me roots. Every time I laugh like that, can you tell me I'm showing my roots? Okay. But anyway, good morning.
We digress.
We digress. So
Apple
today...
crumble, says May Edmondson. Did you get to bed at 2 o'clock, May? Yeah, what are we talking about today, Nads?
Why did you say to get to? Oh, because yesterday we were
talking about sleeping.
Oh, we had such a funny live last night. I made two
dishes. Do join us for
the
Sunday shows. It's a real chuckle.
I made 2 dishes. Those bloody cinnamon. You know, I don't know about you, but these things pop up all the time on Instagram. I really wanted cinnamon rolls, but I didn't have the time. And then they show you how to make a sort of cinnamon roll.
They've always got the time.
And I made it, and they were disgusting. Mark's face when you ate it. Because I don't know what's happening.
I had to drink from the dog bowl.
I think we might need to get my Celebrity MasterChef winning trophy down at the end, just to move.
And then we made it down. Now the cast have been fired.
and then I made, because it's everywhere on TikTok and everywhere on Instagram, this sushi that you make in what they called a silicone ice cube tray. But I didn't have one, so I had to make.
Oh, they look like chodes. It was a cracking Sunday show.
But you ate them all. The sushi was lovely, and I'm going to perfect it.
It was really tasty. Saturday. Really tasty. In fact, it reminded me of one of my favourite dishes at Yo Sushi years ago. were the ring ones with salmon and cream cheese. Oh my Christ, it's so self-indulgent.
Oh, well, I'll go and try and make them then.
So indulgent. Self-indulgent. Okay, what we're talking about today, quite serious stuff because it's quite serious news out there, guys. We're talking about the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. The Clintons have been subpoenaed.
Huge news, actually. Absolutely
news.
huge news.
Yeah, alongside, we know Ghislaine's been subpoenaed. The Justice Department have been subpoenaed. So lots of news there. Israel. Now, this is interesting. Thank you for so many lovely messages. We sub-clipped my kind of losing my shit moment about Israel yesterday and put it on Instagram. I've had so many messages saying, don't be apologetic, don't be. Emotional expression is an important part of it. I suppose it's because fundamentally, socially, we're all kind of told that when you lose your emotion or lose your temper or lose yourself, you are vulnerable and you could take risks or say things. Yeah. But I think I felt
I think that sums up the way we do news.
Yeah.
It's like we do put our heart into what we are talking about, don't we? Everything that we talk about means something to us because there's plenty of news channels that are pumping out the news, but it's just stuff. Whatever we talk about, we care about. We really do discuss what we have rows about what we're going to talk about. Sometimes I'll think, well, I don't see the point of that in Mark's show, and we go to what is in our heart. And I thought it was incredible yesterday what you said. Did you see my message I left you on Instagram?
I can't remember if I did actually. Sorry.
It was really nice.
Oh, thank you. Oh no, I'll go and check.
And I was just saying, it means so much to me how much
I did. Yes, thank you.
How much you care about the Palestinians and how you stay so informed, you stay emotionally in touch with it. And I could not have done these 2 years if it hadn't been for you. I just don't know what I would have done. So,
well, and in a weird way, I'd like to thank you because I think you, I get, as you saw yesterday, I get really emotionally tied up in knots. There's been one occasion, I don't know if you remember, it was over there when Hans Zimmer posted something. When I see the conflation or when I see the world of art and creativity converge with, the activism around this and how people in positions that perhaps couldn't are risking, even more than we've risked and
Maybe say what the Hans Zimmer was.
Hans Zimmer is the composer, obviously. He posted something which a lot of people about, it's more than Bob Vylan, it's more than Glastonbury. And then he pulled it down because he was in contract with Warner Brothers. It caused all sorts of upset. He was then.
It was a pro-Palestinian post.
Yeah, but it's a pro-Palestinian post. And but forgetting the rights and wrongs of whether he should or shouldn't have pulled it down, it just hit me at that point. And when you open the floodgates, I open the floodgates. I really rarely open the floodgates. So I see my part in all of this as really, really stridently tiptoeing around the illogicality of what's presented.
Well, I fall to pieces next.
No, you do the same thing, but you really you allow everyone to hold on to a sort of maternal, sisterly, auntie type approach to it where people feel looked after by you.
Look what Ray just said. She said, I come here so that I don't feel like I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
And we say the same. Yeah. This must be very odd for anybody that's just arrived on our channel. We're not usually like this. No, but we had a very big emotional day yesterday with Gaza. So if you are new, welcome to our community. We love people to comment. We love to chat to people. Hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. And the notification bell so that you know when we're going live. Because sometimes we have to just shift the timings around a bit.
So on that, one of the other topics we're going to talk about today is has Israel postponed its Gaza complete occupation? They haven't necessarily postponed it at all, but they've hit lots and lots of hurdles. It's not going comfortably or easily.
What Mark was saying yesterday is that it was kind of slipped through to, they were kind of like, they released.
Testing.
Yeah, test the waters. So, we're going to be talking about that.
And we're also talking about a story which, Nadia, you saw, which is about harsh words harming kids.
Yes. And this is a report out today. But there's some concerns that where smacking has been stopped, verbal abuse to kids has taken over. And you know what? I do think we do sort of, there are a lot of extremes at the moment, aren't there, in parenting, this over gentle parenting, which I think sometimes when people are too tough, they use that as an extreme they use that as an example, the gentle parenting, as to why they have to be tough, and vice versa. The very gentle parenting, you know, that's over gentle and over spoiling, will use extremes. We've got to try and keep finding somewhere in the middle. And this report speaks to that. It's like, it's no good just saying this can no longer happen, like the banning on the smacking. We have to really help people be better parents, because it is so bloody difficult. I've spoken often about how I thought I was going to be this amazing parent, how it was all going to come naturally. And I just found so much of it so hard. Yeah. And actually, I'm going to do a Nadia Unfiltered. One of my Unfiltered, I'm going to do about where what haunts me about where I think I went wrong as a parent. Yeah. Because I think there's too much out there about, oh, how perfect it all is. But I am a really passionate advocate for children. And I think that a lot of people, if they've been spoken to very, very harshly in their own childhood, can then not realise the damage they might be doing to their kids. I mean, even me sometimes. Look, we always say we had 70s upbringing. You know, my mum used to slap us sometimes. She was like, "Oh, don't be silly." You know, she was a great mum, but some of those things that were said as a kid go in deep. They go in deep.
They really do.
So I think it's just worth always having a conversation around that without, I did it better, you do it badly. It's just a conversation of a load of people struggling with the hardest job in the world. Okay,
so we're going to talk about that towards the end. I think we should put Epstein second. I want to talk about Netanyahu first, and I want to talk about, if you don't mind, if we can sort of deal with this first, because it was the intense moment from yesterday. Thank you. Continued lovely messages coming through now. Yeah, this is the headline in the Guardian: Israel-Gaza war. Israeli cabinet meeting postponed as tensions rise over Netanyahu's occupation. This is an evolving story which is actually live right now, and I have to say, we don't just lean on the Guardian. We do go to Al Jazeera, we do go to Middle East Eye, we do go to some of the more liberal American press. We do also go to reporters and independent journalists on other social media platforms like YouTube and Instagram. But sometimes, and it is a real, I do think it's a testament to the Guardian. It's not to say that it's infrastructure and it is totally holier than thou, but it really does kind of walk in step with what most of the activist accounts and most of the independent journalists are covering regarding Gaza. I just want to pull up their live feed because there's a few evolving developments. So they have postponed the meeting. They've postponed the discussion that was going to happen in government about the possibility that Israel fully occupied Gaza. And that's what we felt passionate about yesterday. That's what we're talking about yesterday. As Nadia says, they were dribbling this out the night before. The Western media didn't pick it up. My worry and our concern was that unless there was vocal outrage and upset, then they would just plow ahead with it.
Actually, they've had so much outrage within their own army and government.
And one of the major issues here is, what is the resistance in, let's say, within the IDF? The resistance isn't one of bonhomie and care and consideration for the Gazans. Put that to the side. It's a little bit like a lot of the hostage families that want an end to the assault on Gaza aren't saying it for the better good of everyone. They're saying it for the better good of the hostages. What they want after the hostages are back, God only knows. So this isn't about kindness. This isn't the milk of human kindness. This isn't
a waking up to the fact that there is actually a genocide.
No, but what this is, but what is being presented to the Israeli government is that the IDF are saying it is utterly unworkable. They believe that if they occupy the areas that are currently unoccupied, where the hostages are and most of the population is, the hostages will almost more than likely be summarily executed or killed in the crossfire. There will be another massive increase in civilian casualties, if you could believe there could be any more, because of course it will be street to street shooting, guerrilla warfare, tunnels, buildings, you name it, going everywhere. So
it's already at peak violence. The Green Beret whistleblower said
The IDF's concerns is they are having an increasing number of reservists that they're having to call back to Gaza for a second and third time, and the number of suicides and mental health issues.
There's a lot of the reservists.
The number of suicides and mental health issues that are being experienced by the IDF because they can't rationalize the brutality they've been ordered and indulged in to do is becoming a problem for them. So they don't actually think they've got the infrastructure or the wherewithal to pull this off. So in a weird way, from the most unlikeliest of sources, there's been a bit of a kind of, stick in the spokes for Netanyahu's desire to do this.
The letter with the 600 signatories.
Yes.
That as well.
I don't have the exact details on who they were, but
all sorts of different ex-politicians and again urging him not to do it.
Yeah.
And you just feel, wow, this is a big shift, isn't it?
But some of the other details that are emerging this morning as well. So,
and as Ray just said on Breaking Point this morning, they say they cannot do that without the full support of America. So maybe, again, like you were saying yesterday, it's dribbled out because when Trump was asked, he went, I don't know. Oh, I don't know
it's
whether.
Down to Israel.
Oh, that'll be down to Israel. It's like, God, yeah, right. Like you didn't know about it. Like it's not all decided on what the rest of the world says. So I suppose it's if America thinks this is just too hot now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just want to also share Israel Katz, their defense minister, has posted again on X saying that whatever orders the IDF are given, here we go. Israeli defense minister an hour ago said that the country's chief of staff, head chief of staff of the IDF, Eyal Zamir, had a right to express his views, but that the military would ultimately have to execute any government decisions on Gaza. Katz's statement on social media came after reports in the Israeli media in recent days suggesting that Zamir, chief of staff, is opposed to a government plan to occupy the Gaza Strip. So there is an enormous amount of tension in Israel. Jordan. So, we've heard an awful lot about how Hamas intercept the trucks. There's looting. There's danger. Well, Jordan, the country,
where my father's from,
where your father's from, and we're not for a minute suggesting Jordan has been, again, wholesome in this conflict at all. But Jordan has said that Israeli settlers are now attacking Gaza-bound aid convoys.
Yeah, I saw a video today.
Jordan said Israeli settlers attacked a Gaza-bound aid convoy on Wednesday in the second such incident in days. And they've accused Israel of failing to act firmly to prevent repeated assaults. The convoy carrying 30 trucks of humanitarian aid was delayed at its arrival in a violation of signed agreements. This requires, says Jordan, a serious Israeli intervention. And the reason I wanted to flag that up is if I have to hear yet again how trucks are intercepted and looted, and yet even American and Israeli experts on the ground and witnesses have said there is little evidence that Hamas are actually hijacking the trucks and looting them. The teams, the marauding gangs that Netanyahu is funding do this to sow discontent. But what we've actually got here is Israeli settlers doing it all the time.
Yeah, I posted a video on my stories today. Children blocking aid to children. And then I copied in all the news channels. Can we just see this, please? Because you're very happy to report that Hamas is taking all the food. Hamas is taking all the food.
Yeah.
I've just had a message in from Children Not Numbers. Oh, this is wonderful. From Samaya yesterday, whose interview that we showed you with the BBC. Some good news today for once, Nadia. We finally got, it makes me want to cry. They worked so hard for each child, got 6 of our sickest cardiac babies and toddlers out of Gaza for cardiac surgery.
Oh my God, that is fantastic.
They're on their way to Jordan as we speak. This is the Medivac mission I mentioned to you and had been cancelled multiple times. Good news on my 40th birthday.
Oh my God.
Happy birthday.
Oh my God, happy birthday.
So oh my God, that is you can't believe how difficult that has been. Please God, get them there safe.
That's amazing news.
Oh, that is
absolutely
so. Please follow Children Not Numbers on Instagram. Support them just by following. You support them, and by sharing, you support them. But if you can also donate even a couple of pounds a month or something like that, it's amazing.
That's such good news. That's such good news. Such good news.
I want to go and see these babies.
No. I'm also going to just quickly, before we move on to EPSTEIN, I'm going to show you some footage. The Independent's delivered. A number of places are running this footage. This is the devastation in Gaza. And the reason I want to show you this now, I want to also contrast it with some other images that I've pulled today.
This is North Gaza, or perhaps more accurately, this was North Gaza. After 22 months of intense bombardment from Israel and the war with militant group Hamas, it now resembles the bottom of a fire pit. According to the UN, 92% of homes in Gaza are either destroyed or damaged, and the destruction is so widespread it could take 21 years to rebuild, if the conflict stops. Ceasefire talks have collapsed, and now Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is reportedly favouring a complete military takeover of Gaza, starting with widening the current devastating offensive on the destroyed Strip. Tents stretch out towards the horizon, as far as the eye can see. This is the central coastal region of Gaza, which is now housing nearly 500,000 people forced to flee their homes under Israel's bombardment and evacuation orders. The main encampment here is called Al-Mawasi, a so-called humanitarian zone, although it's been repeatedly hit by Israeli aircraft. Gaza was already one of the most densely populated areas on Earth. Today, the UN says Al-Mawasi is now home to more than 47,700 people per square kilometre.
Now,
Right, hang on. So just this. So Gaza is 25 miles long, 12 miles deep, and 100,000 tons of explosives. That's more than was used in Dresden, Hamburg, and London in World War II, over a much larger area.
really important. I'm pleased you pulled in a historic parallel, because I'm also going to pull in another historic parallel, and I want to show you some images. Hold the images you've just seen of Gaza. Yesterday marked the 80-year anniversary of Hiroshima, and I found these images today, and they just seem remarkably reminiscent and similar to images that we are seeing coming out of Gaza every day. And when you now know that Israel has dropped the equivalent of 8 Hiroshima bombs, is it? Or more than that?
More than used in Dresden, Hamburg, and London in World War II.
We look at these images as something that we look at and think we could never again, like the Holocaust, we think we could never step to this degree. Look at these images: burnt sticks, refugees, children, blown out buildings. This is look, children trying to cook food. This is apparently, that bridge in the middle was apparently the pilot's target for where they dropped the bomb. That's the silhouette of a man who was incinerated in the blast.
And we've got one of those in the tents, haven't we, with the man still with his IV dropping.
Exactly.
Yeah,
images like this. This is. There's arguably more structures there still in Hiroshima. So just that contrast, that echo of how we've learned nothing. And
yet very soon we'll probably get another very angry video from Mr. Netanyahu demanding that nobody criticises him and accusing anyone that does of being anti-Semitic. So wait for that next propaganda.
Yeah, and finally, I've moved the music off this too, but also to bear in mind some of the aid drops that have dropped food, and the food is rotten. The food is not good. This is the Al Jazeera footage.
The bread is rotten today.
Package of food aid dropped in is mouldy. Some of it from Spain here has a 24-hour edible window. So you might, it was resold at a local market for $100.
They are so thirsty as well. Thirsty. They're so dehydrated.
So if you're listening, we're just looking at the decomposed, damaged, moldy packages of food.
And no water comes in. And you die of thirst before you die of hunger. And they're having to run like Squid Games to get whatever they can. It's just, well, what do we have left to say?
Well, I think at times like now, we should always pivot back to Donald Trump.
Israel reoccupying all of Gaza has been suggested by some Israeli officials?
Well, I don't know what the suggestion is. I know that we are there now trying to get people fed. As you know, $60 million was given by the United States fairly recently to supply food, and a lot of food, frankly, for the people of Gaza that are obviously not doing too well with the food. And I know Israel's going to help us with that in terms of distribution and also money. We also have the Arab states are going to help us with that in terms of the money and possibly distribution. So that's what I'm focused on. As far as the rest of it, I really can't say. That's going to be pretty much up to Israel. Yep.
Oh, it's going to be pretty much up to Israel, is it? Well, you stop sending weapons and money today, the war ends. Children are fed.
Yeah.
You say, oh, okay, all you humanitarian aid agencies just waiting, you can come in, they're fed. So don't give us this bullshit.
Yeah. Okay.
Complicit in every single one of those men, women, and children. I'm not just going to keep saying children that are starving to death.
Yes, Natasha, very good point. Notice he won't say starving.
No.
It's always a problem
with food, trying to get them fed.
He's not focused on anything other than apart from idiocracy, DP, and playing golf. Absolutely right. Well, sticking with Trump, and a major issue for him is the Epstein scandal. And this is the story. This is part of the story. The Clintons have been ordered to testify in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation as the Congressional Committee details former president's ties to the disgraced financier in letter seeking deposition. Now, this is the same Congressional Committee that has subpoenaed or asked or requested from Ghislaine Maxwell to testify on August the 11th. And this subpoena has not only gone out to the Clintons, it's gone out to the former head of the FBI, it's gone out to Republicans and Democrats that were sort of around at the time of the Clintons, etc. It's a squeak.
But it's all of what everyone's been asking for. We want to see the files that Pam Bondi said, you don't need to see them because there's nothing in them. They are now subpoenaed to hand over
the Department of Justice has entirely been subpoenaed to hand everything over.
But as Mark was saying, I said, well, that's it then, we're going to see. And as you were saying, yeah, but this is real crunch time because
it is.
We have seen him refuse. Look at when they were sending people to El Salvador and judges told them they couldn't and they sent them anywhere, turn around the plane, stop the plane, get them, and they did it anyway. They may refuse.
Could they refuse? Well, I mean, the Department of Justice has been subpoenaed. If they do refuse, it will create an enormous story of what are they hiding. And it's a crunch moment for Trump, this really, because this, what's it called? Not select committee, what's it called? A congressional committee. It's composed of Republicans, supporters of Trump. It's composed of Democrats.
Well, it's the Democrats that demanded this.
Yeah, but the Democrats within it. So it's a little bit like a select committee within our government, that it's made up of it's made up of numerous members of both parties. I think something like...
Who selects a select committee?
Yeah, who selects the select committee? At first, I thought, this is all just a kangaroo court. This is just going to be theatrics. This is going to be optics so that it looks like they're going through the process. But I do understand that from a number of the Democrats on this congressional committee, they've said that they've won a victory here in that they've managed to, whilst the Republicans have gone for scalps like the Clintons, and everyone who's kind of potentially culpable or guilty should be fucking caught. So whilst the Republicans have kind of, in a weird way, what seems to have happened is, what seems to have happened is they've reached a kind of, a sort of weird agreement, I think, within this committee of, you can demand it of the Department of Justice as long as we can start to go for the Democrats that were implicated in this too.
So has he never been called before? Clintons. You might not know that. Do we know that?
I don't think he's ever been called. I don't know if I don't know.
Because the subpoena says, obviously paraphrasing, it says things like, you were photographed having a massage from one of the
here's
victims.
The quote. Do you want to read it here?
By your own admission, you flew on Jeffrey Epstein's private plane 4 separate times in 2002 and 2003. During one of these trips, you were even pictured receiving a massage from one of Mr. Epstein's victims.
Your family appears to have had a close relationship with both Jeffrey Epstein and his co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell. It wrote in the subpoena cover letter to Mrs. Clinton, the former US Secretary of State. So they've both been subpoenaed.
But have they? Yeah.
So it feels grubby. I think in a weird way, the Clintons have been the most sort of highest profiled individuals, haven't they? I mean, throughout it, alongside Trump.
God, I don't know. There's been so many names. I'm confused as to who's high.
And the New York Times has also published a piece where a whole heap of other letters, birthday notes from Woody Allen, Ehud Barak, letters and notes to Jeffrey Epstein, a $1 bill from Bill Gates, signed winner or something. There have been photos published in Jeffrey Epstein in this New York Times article in his mansion on the Upper East Side, where he had a sort of encased copy, first edition of Lolita, which is the infamous Nabokov book about an older man who has an incestuous relationship with an underage girl. And bizarre that still was made into a film and no one thought about it about 25, 30 years ago. The whole Lolita concept. Images also of things like, I think I've got some of them here. Look, this was hanging in the hallway, a virginal bride climbing up a rope.
What?
I mean, what a hit. I mean, yeah.
You know what?
Lots of photos, which again, now Nadia made an interesting point. There are lots of photos of people with Epstein. That's actually a taxidermied real tiger, doesn't it? It looks...
But with because of everything we know, everything seems suspicious. Like a lot of those quotes in that birthday book that people are putting a lot of store to, I'm thinking, well, no, it's only because we can retrospectively, yes, but any you could read any of those quotes in one way or the other. But what I do want to say, bang in the middle of this discussion, is that too often we are forgetting about the victims here. And it's become almost this political ping pong game, you know. And over the last couple of days, I've been listening to the lawyer. I listened to an interview with the lawyer for the girls. I've listened to an interview with Virginia Giuffre's brothers and their wives, in which they were weeping. You know, they do not want Ghislaine Maxwell to have another moment to say anything. They say, you know, she's perjured. Is that what would you say? Perjured. She's perjured herself many other times in court. These women have gone through hell and back. She was sentenced, he was sentenced, and they do not want Ghislaine Maxwell to have another chance to say anything because they think that because she's such a monster. You know, the girls will say that she was as monstrous as him. They would not have gone to him if it wasn't for her. She tapped them for all their abuse stories. They're just, what had happened to them. And Virginia Giuffre's sister-in-law was saying that Ghislaine was violent within the sessions. The
process. Yeah,
right, yeah. You know, she is a violent paedophile, and she would be a danger to other children. And I'm petrified. Now she's been moved very quietly to this prison where no way, no how would a paedophile be put in that prison.
But has she been actually charged for child sex? I don't think she has. Actually, it's just sex trafficking. I mean, I think, if they, I'm going, it's trying to draw distinctions between, but I mean,
she's a paedophile.
She's been prosecuted for child abuse.
Yes, absolutely. Right, okay, yeah. And
totally agree, Reese.
Yeah. And we're all like, you know, I mean, Mark and I get excited when we think something's going to be moved on because we want these people held to account. But we've got to be really careful around Ghislaine Maxwell and hearing anything. When you listen to the victims via the brothers of Virginia, they don't want her to have a chance to speak again.
No.
We should not hear from her again.
Well, but also
very traumatic for the victims.
But the weirdest part of all of this is, like, you know how the Deputy Attorney General went to interview her. There's talk about the Trump administration releasing the transcripts of that interview. Well, he's not going to release the transcripts of that interview unless he feels they favor him. In which case, what was the nature of the discussion? In which case, it was unheard of. And in which case, at what point will they have recorded what they did talk about and what didn't they talk about? What will be redacted? What will just not be included? And the other thing to remind ourselves is, at what point, even in the subpoenaing of her to this select committee hearing, and in the interview with the Attorney General, when did she ever become a reliable narrator in any of this?
This is what they're saying.
How can we now trust anything
they're saying
she
she's
says?
been caught lying loads of times.
Yeah.
Would you or would you not say anything that you could if you were a liar, a paedophile, you know, a sex trafficker, to get out of 20 years in a brutal prison? And it's traumatizing the victims.
Yeah, I mean, what weight?
It's just outrageous.
I mean, I'm curious to know what weight can be given to anything she says, even if she says the very things that Trump wants her to say, which is, I caught Clinton doing it.
She might say, it was only the Democrats and nobody else, because let's face it, that's what Trump wants her to say.
Just another line from the subpoena for the Clintons, which is quite shocking. It says here, this is in the subpoena, quote, "It has also been claimed that you pressured Vanity Fair not to publish sex trafficking allegations against your good friend, Mr. Epstein. And there are conflicting reports about whether you ever visited Mr. Epstein's island." The important thing to know is although they've been subpoenaed, the Clintons, by all accounts, there's a history. I think Nixon was once, and another former president was once, and they didn't appear. But the problem for the Clintons is, if they don't appear and they don't say anything, then that works for Trump. It works for all the critics of the Democrats.
Except the way that they could do that is by saying he wants a kangaroo court. He has gone after everybody that's ever said a word against him because he's so malicious and vengeful. And, you know, I could understand that as well. But I just worry, you know, if we get to a situation again where all the powerful, rich men manage to, again, quash these victims, you know, next time there's a group of big, rich, powerful men, who's going to come forward? You know, Virginia Giuffre's lawyer was saying yesterday how unbelievably brave, what an extraordinary woman she was, Giuffre, with what she went through. She said she was fearless, and she said we all miss her. And, you know, I just get goosebumps thinking about what this means for all the girls that have gone through.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right to mention that, because we can lose sight of the victims. Just a couple of comments I want to read. YouTube, she would face perjury if she lied, so she'd have to lie knowing no journalist can disprove her testimony. Reese Roberts, also people know cozying up to Trump can be incredibly beneficial in their favor. It's also been reported that Diddy's attorney approached Trump's administration about a pardon.
I've been listening to all of that. That is fascinating. But just go back to MeTube. MeTube, that's quite sort of sweet and innocent. We're not in the world anymore. You can be disproved. You can have video evidence. We're in a very different world now. We're still harping back to the days where we were thinking international law and, you know, certain code of behavior and all of this. But Trump blows it all out of the water.
And also, to quote Scaramucci,
look at what happened to El South with those people being taken to El Salvador.
There's no
in prison.
We're in a really curious post-reality, real, hyper-real, unreal world where the most awful, well, look, classic example, trying to be told and gaslit into being told that a genocide isn't happening.
Or that people aren't starving.
In the most multimedia, social media, visual age we've ever been in, they're still trying to pretend. And unfortunately, with huge swathes of populations and governments, they're still winning that argument. I mean, with ever less success. But I do think we live in a really odd age where it's almost like if you front out the awfulness of something, there's some way of getting it past the public.
They've done away with the cover-ups. It's a new age where everything is out there and they just wait for everyone to stop being angry about it and it will pass.
Okay, we're going to move on to the final topic just because we're running out of time. Natasha, I was going to read Zoe first, sorry. Bill Clinton is a very dangerous man. I've been listening to Monica Lewinsky's podcast. She's a badass woman, everything you put her through. And did you know that Mossad had all of the phone recordings of their phone sex, essentially, and they used it as leverage against Clinton? Do not forget, tied into the Epstein files is everything to do with Israel. I love the way in which Senk on the Young Turks again last night inferred, why did Netanyahu land in America the same week that this whole Epstein thing started to get out of hand? What was the warning? And I turned to Nads last night when we were watching the Young Turks live, and I said, how do you think Netanyahu broaches this? Well, Trump knows if Netanyahu. If he did. So let's assume Mossad has compromising information, which I think we can all assume is the case. But there's compromising material somewhere about Trump. Netanyahu can't go to him, look, I've got footage of you being pissed on. What are we going to do about this? Because if you
for instance,
because if you don't let us kill all the Gazans, we're going to publish the footage of you being tied up and then pissed on.
I said he'd go, my friend, you know, there are people with this. I can help you with this.
Yeah, I
can help you.
There are those who are against you, Donald. Those who are against you, and I can help you. Which is why then Trump looked lovingly at him across that table, didn't he? I mean, if only some people would look at people they love in that way, it would be quite
obviously
something.
This is us just
speculating,
playing mind games.
Sorry, Natasha, I gave you a moment in the sun and then pulled you down for just quickly. Natasha, the world just needs to be handed over to women. Yes. Men have made a huge mess of our world. I always remember Christine Scott Thomas's monologue from Fleabag. Sadly, we didn't get past episode 2.
Then, what's her name? Von der Leyen. In Germany. God. Oh my God. Oh my God, she has been brutal.
Utterly brutal. Okay, final story. Harsh words harm kids. This is the headline. Verbally abused.
She was not tried for paedophilia.
No, that's what I thought. I thought not. I think it was.
Thank you.
20 years in prison for conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to sexually abuse. So let me pull this.
That is a paedophile.
Yeah. I mean, conspiring to sexually abuse. She was not tried for. Yeah, I suppose it's really.
I mean, she's always described in all the American.
I get
news
what you're saying,
channels.
Christine, but I'm the same. I didn't think it was a literal definition.
But in all the news channels in America, they describe her as a paedophile.
Yeah, as a convicted paedophile. Yeah. Well, do they? I don't know if they do.
They do.
Do they? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, here's the headline from the various papers. Verbally abused children more likely to have poor mental health as adults, study finds. That's in The Guardian. And in The Telegraph, verbal abuse as bad as hitting your children. Significant number who are subject to harsh words suffer psychological harm affecting mental well-being. Okay, can I just I'll throw a cat amongst pigeons. Is this why we have snowflakes? If you can't hit them and you can't shout at them, how do you discipline them? Are there going to be many people who say,
no,
well, for
this
God's
is
sake?
no. This is quite a serious. We're going to have a bit of fun with it later, but because we want you to think about the things that were said to you that have like carried and wounded you deeply. But this is yeah.
Researchers at Liverpool John Moores University say that verbal bullying was linked to long-term mental problems and have called on Britain to catch up with other countries which have banned the degrading or psychological abuse of children. The analysis of 20,000 children found that 16% of those who suffered no abuse had poor mental health in adulthood, but it rose to 22.5% for those who had been physically abused and 24% for those mentally abused. So it's worse than hitting.
Yeah.
It's marginally worse in that study.
God knows how they quantify that. I mean, how can you do this?
Yeah, I mean, 22.5 versus 24.
No, but I mean, it's just, listen, it's more about, again, openly talking about the fact that so many people struggle with being a parent, and
Thank you, Leah. Good
we need to be more open about that rather than victimizing.
Yes.
Listen, it's fact. You know, like sometimes when I'm talking to the girls and they might be having a certain problem with a certain person, you know, a friend of theirs or something, and I might have known something about the way they've been brought up or what's going on, I would always say to our girls, but look at that situation that they're growing up in. It's a very different situation. You might want them to talk about their feelings in this way, but they haven't been brought up in that way. So it's so alien to them. And then some of the ways that you've been brought up that you would never be able to connect in the way they have, and you've got to have that understanding that we're all brought up in very different situations.
And I just want to pull this up because this chimes with what you're saying. Good Sugar Lollipop says some people don't realize how abused they actually were and become the thing themselves.
Exactly.
So, yes, kind of what
so
we're used
if
to.
you are around somebody telling you, like say you're right, you could be in a very, very abusive relationship where you're beaten every day and the most terrible things done physically, okay? Or you could be hit once or twice a month. Okay, which isn't great, but it's not going to be as harmful as a daily running down of your personality, telling you that you're no good, teasing you. Like sometimes I see these videos on TikTok or Instagram and I cannot believe people have posted them. And they're really, really teasing a child and they think it's funny. And you can see the child's all confused and doesn't kind of know. And then it's kind of half laughing. Honestly, I cry when I see it. And they don't, like often, like people will bully each other, won't they? And genuinely, I mean, I can think of a person who's a real bully and actually they've got no idea that they're a bully. But they are very bullying. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah. In everything they say, it's very bullying. Well, why doesn't that transfer if you're bringing up a child?
Yes.
You know, if you think of somebody at work, like if you think of somebody that's just really always just quite cutting or sarky or puts you down or makes you feel a certain kind of way, makes you feel a bit eggshelly, that person's a parent. They're going to be making the child feel that way as well, because it's about how you communicate with people. A child isn't a different species. They're just a younger, more innocent, more malleable, more frightened because they're under your power human being. So anything that you would say to an adult or you wouldn't say to an adult, you shouldn't say to a child, I don't think.
I think one of the interesting things that I think is missing actually from this research thing, and I would...
It's very scant.
Well, it's very scant, but also there's a whole section there that's not talked about, which I think there is verbal abuse, there's physical abuse, and then there's the abuse of neglect, which is a kind of omission. It's like an abuse through It's not necessarily you being talked to horribly or spoken to horribly, or words are used, and it's not the physical abuse is being used. It's actually that nothing's being said and no care is happening. And I think that's another.
Well, that's the bottom of the thing. That's
but that's the third one, which I just don't think the thing. I just want to read.
No, but I think the point of this is that they're saying because smacking has been taken out of the game, people are being more verbally abusive, and that is really dangerous. If you're in a bad relationship, right? And somebody's telling you every day, oh God, look at you, look at the state of you, look, you're so fat, look, you're this, you're that. Oh God, aren't you stupid? Every time, you know, if any of us saw somebody in a relationship like that, would say, God, you know, if it was a friend, you'd say, God, how can you? But we stand by when kids are spoken to.
Well, I was going to say some of the most effective and sinister coercive control and domestic abuse can be verbal.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, it's not about just violence. So if that can happen to adults, then children, you know, likewise will be on the, you know, to be on the receiving end of verbal abuse I can see why it can be worse. Sometimes it can be infinitely worse than a smack. Because a smack doesn't come with a whole heap of other things. You know, I'm not suggesting this is what one should do, and this isn't a justification for violence. But a smack or an eruption of a loss of temper in a smack is a non-verbal something. It doesn't come with a whole heap of other judgments and character decimations. Whereas when you reach for a selection of words that degrade someone, is delivered violently, you've both got the kind of verbal pseudo physical violence of it, and then you've got what's actually been said, which sticks with you, which is why trolling is so effective. It sticks with you, it stays with you, it haunts you.
Well, one of my relatives, you know who I'm talking about, I'm keeping it quiet, who was hit a lot by her husband, and we were also traumatized and upset by it and everything. But she always said, everyone always focuses on that, but it was what he did to me mentally that got him to a place where he could hit me. She said the mentals were so much worse. And I think we kind of understand that within relationships more than we do with children.
Yeah.
And I like sometimes, like when I'm out and about and you just hear the way somebody talks to their child and you just think, I know that's the way you were spoken to. You're not mean, but you've been treated really meanly and you don't know how to be nicer. And then the other thing is that people take their frustrations out on their kids. And we need more help offered. If it was made standard, read some of your
comments, a lot of meaningful comments coming through.
We'll read comments just 1 minute. If it was made standard, right, I think we should have parenting classes.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
So then it would be misdone. So there'd be no shame, because some people have to end up having parenting classes because things have got out of hand with their children's behaviour and all of that. I think it'd be such a good investment in a country, because you're going to save money on mental health services, on things like addiction, because when children are unhappy, they often turn to addiction to clamp down their feelings. It would be a great investment in the future of society if we just said all parents, because I tell you, my sister's worked in some really expensive private schools. Don't think just because people have got money they think that they think they're great parents, but oh my God. So it should be for everyone.
It's a really good idea. I mean, of course, then the question is, whose standards are we promoting? But I think what you're saying is right. I just want to read some comments, really meaningful ones. Raven, I would rather have had physical abuse than verbal throughout my life. With physical abuse, I felt I could have justified being strong to deal with it. Whereas with verbal abuse, no one understood. Clodagh, my mother, Lord have mercy on her, used to tell me I couldn't do things. Yes. I believed her and went into myself later. I decided to prove her wrong.
Do you know what
I did?
You know what, Clodagh? I had a message from a friend of mine yesterday who had done something really well. And she said to me, and she was chatting away, and then she said, because, I just kept thinking of my dad, and my dad always saying to me, I can't do anything, and she's in her 60s. And I said to her, oh God, time to let go of what he said to you, but they do go in deep.
Lottie Drew, what I think damaged me was more witnessing verbal abuse from my dad and my mum. The arguing I remember so clearly.
Thank you. And I don't know whether you had a brother, Lottie, but if you had a brother, that would be very hard for him then to not be like that with his partner, maybe, Your dad is just, the way your dad speaks to your mum is just...
significant. Victoria Moore, my granddad was beaten badly by his father, but my mum said he never so much as raised his voice at her, not always an excuse.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah,
absolutely
good
not
point.
an excuse. But I think we can often look at the reasons why somebody is struggling more than another person.
Also, some of the contention in parent-child dynamics says really stems from a parent's reluctance to witness their child as they are on a soul-like basis, and instead the obsession to mold them in their image.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Turn them into themselves. Natasha,
Yeah.
it's very hard to break the cycle as it goes into your
Yeah,
psyche.
it does.
I'm trying to be different to both of my parents. You're
so
every-
lovely,
yes.
Natasha. You
Yeah.
are such a sweet and gentle, kind person.
So my mum is a narcissist, sadly, so I've been used to abuse from her words all my life. It's definitely affected me a lot from a young age, affected my confidence and self-esteem for sure.
Did you ever, Zoe, have
Sorry,
you ever
Zoe.
looked on that website that I've mentioned a few times? It's the one Davina called myhorridparent.com.
Yes.
Davina McCall recommends it all the time. So if anyone's had that, and there's also a website, Adult Children of Narcissistic Parents,
Yes.
which apparently is quite
Caroline
helpful.
Woods, a couple more comments. Caroline Woods, there's a difference between telling a child off for being naughty, but being hateful and putting a child down in a negative way is cruel and will affect a child in a harmful way.
Of course it will. Because would it, if as an adult,
As an adult,
that's
absolutely.
what you've got to say. Is if you lived with somebody that had complete control over your food, your water, your life, when you go to bed, when you don't, and then also they constantly told you were horrible or you were stupid or that you were this or you were that, would that affect you? Yeah. So it's going to affect a child. I don't understand why people don't know that.
I really like this comment. Well, like it, resonates. Amy Liz, abuse of a parent ignoring a child, not making an effort and dismossing them
Yes.
really hurts just as much as harsh words. And I do
Or
really
removing love when
Yeah,
they're not
remove-
doing, when
absolutely.
they're not being exactly what they want
Absolutely.
you to be.
Absolutely. I can see that this is resonating for so many people.
Yeah, it always does. It's just which just proves the point of what they're saying in this report. It goes on and on.
My mum has been dead for 12 years, and the things she said and did to me will be with me until I'm gone. But her bad parenting ended with her. I'm the opposite of her, and it's the only thing. And I think, for me, one of the definitions of being a good parent is trying to be better than the parents, or or making up. I mean, I was in a therapy session the other day, and she said, she was kind of correcting my self-hate around what kind of a dad I've been. And she's like, Jesus Christ. She said, you've had zero role models, zero input. She said, you've constructed from the ground up. And it's just, it's about being kinder to yourself, and it's about recognizing where you've progressed. But I do have to say, as a parent, I do think one of the definitions of being a parent is not simply stating, I know best, and everything I think and feel about this role as a parent is correct. You have to have some fluidity and self-analysis. Otherwise, it's game over. Coral,
exactly. Just try and do better than the one.
Coral Roberts, you're a great mum. Parenting classes on emotions. Sometimes it's life pressures the parent are experiencing by shouting, swearing. No one tells you as a parent you have to answer a million questions.
Yeah, it's a really good thing is to just say to your kids, do you know what? I'm just going to go and take some time out because I need to calm down my emotions. I need to settle myself, because then they learn that for themselves as well. I just need to go and settle myself.
Good Trip Lollipop says, my lack of a male role model made me fall for the first chance that came along.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
I mean, it's just shows you, doesn't it?
That's it.
At least you were there for your kids, Mango Man. Thank you so much. Honestly, sometimes all we need is a dad to be around.
Yeah.
Bless you, Mango Man.
And we need our mums to really celebrate us. And sometimes mums find that so hard because they've not had that. And it's really hard to see your daughter coming back at you. You see a reflection. I don't mean physically. I mean, you can see a reflection of yourself. And maybe sometimes when you see some of the things that you were told were no good about you, and you might see them in your child, it's like very scary.
I've just
had a really scary.
I've just had a thought as to why they will never do parenting classes in school for children, because if you actually go into it in enough detail, more kids would go, I don't think I'm going to do that. And they've got a real problem with population. The birth rate is too low. If they were to actually, isn't that interesting though? If they would, and that's not transparently only talk about the negatives, you would, I think in any class, you would talk about the positives too. Because the reason I came to that conclusion, well, they would never do it because more and more people would be disincentivized to have kids, is because actually I think many people, we underestimate the number of people who go into having children thinking it's one thing, and perhaps thinking, their circumstances are fixed at the front. All of our lives, especially these days, change so dramatically. Careers, work, relationships, everything. And it just doesn't pan out the way that you thought it was going to pan out. And then you're left kind of coping rather than, enjoying.
Braxton the Snake Fiend has a book to recommend. I'm happy my mum died.
Wow.
This is Narcissistic Mothers.
Wow.
Hi Braxton, how are
Hi,
you?
Braxton,
In
yeah.
America, aren't you?
Yeah, you've been on quite a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've said this a couple of times, but I'm going to say it again because I was always fascinated by this. So anyone that's heard me saying this again, the nurse that I follow who works in a hospice, and she says, if you have a narcissistic parent or anyone in your life, do not read their final letter to you, because it will destroy you further. They will. So like, she's worked in hospices where like a narcissist will write the final letter to their child,
right?
And the child will want to have, their adult child. They will go to read it, hoping everything's going to be made, and it's always the final.
Oh,
yeah. She said you have to use real strength and put it in the bin.
Wow. It's very difficult if you are closely related to narcissists, when actually the only real way to deal with a narcissist is to
totally cut off the
withdraw.
It's called the narcissistic food
Supply.
Supply, yeah. The narcissistic supply. And to keep hurting you and upsetting you, literally is like the oxygen supply.
It's a sort of vampirism.
Yeah. So you have to completely cut them out.
Yeah, you really do. You have to freeze the relationship.
And you have to kill the hope. Because it will be the hope that will kill you. Otherwise, they say.
Marco just quickly says, could just keep talking for hours. Marco says, why is it that narcissistic people who never even wanted kids become parents? Because they think in that narcissistic fashion that it's an extension of them. And why are there so many lovely, empathetic people who somehow end up without having children? It's the rubric of life. Why do the nice people keep living?
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
No,
Thanks, May Edmondson. It's Nurse Julie. I think that is it. Nurse Julie. She's amazing, isn't she?
I meant that the other way around, obviously. Why is it the nice people keep living? Anyway.
Milk, honey. Yes, I'm so glad I don't have children. Not because
I don't love them or think I'd be a good mum. I love being an auntie, but it's too anxiety for me.
Well, yeah, but that's interesting. You've made that decision, because to have a child, again, it increases fucking anxiety like you wouldn't believe. So not everyone should drive. Not everyone should have kids.
Natasha Tilmos makes a great, I've talked to you about this a bit myself. Victim narcissists are harder to cut out, though. You end up feeling guilty.
Yeah, exactly. Because you haven't got that kind of heart.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Wow, that was a really far-reaching and all-encompassing chat. Once again, held together brilliantly by all your comments. So thank you. If you haven't, subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Doesn't cost.
Doesn't cost.
I have to keep saying that because people think it costs.
If you missed the Sunday show and you're a member, go to the No Name Sunday Show playlist. It is there on the playlist. You can click on it and you can watch last night. It was funny. And what we do is we have an area.
We were knackered when we started it, and you recharged us because
rather than Nadia's Nook, we've got an area called Mark's Crutch. I don't know why I've called it that, but it's a place for us to talk about topics as well as Nadia cook interesting food.
And it's politics free. We don't discuss politics. We don't discuss anything about the world. It's just a bit of an escape. So if anyone wants to join the members area, it's just $1.99 a month. I don't think there's anywhere as cheap as that anywhere on YouTube for a members area. And we've always said we will always keep it at that price for that area.
Marco's just joined. Welcome, Marco. Go and enjoy the show. It's fun.
We need to go back to welcoming people with a song.
Sing their name.
Welcome, Marco. Welcome, Marco. Welcome, Marco, to the family guest area.
Welcome, Marco. Can't do it. Destroy my throat. All right, my lovelies. Have a lovely day.
And I'll be on Loose Women tomorrow, so I'll see you there.
And the last of our Devon shit influencers in Devon. Last one lands tonight.
Watch it. And please share the vlogs with your friends, because we were saying the other day, there's such a nice escape, the vlogs. And actually, reality TV on TV is so shit. Yeah. I mean, just don't believe any of it. Do you? Anyway.
Bye, guys. Lots of love.